Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thud to the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Thud and Hashem Yahshua, peace love without one bar. Coming to you, holding down for Captain Zania, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is the Brotherhood class. The Brotherhood class. This is the Brotherhood class. So if you have questions, go ahead and type in questions. I see you, Quatza. I see you, Danisha. I'm saying coming from Texas, of course. Y'all got questions, y'all got comments, go ahead and type them in. Several different topics that we can talk about, that we can go into, especially when it talks about brotherhood, especially when it comes to brotherhood, because brotherhood is something that is so critical, so pivotal to the development of us as a people. I don't know if you paid attention to class last night. Big up to Commander YAHANNA. It was some heavy information, man. Definitely could have stayed, just listen to him, keep on going in on the importance of these feast days, the Feast of Tabernacles, these high holy days. But shows the significance of why it is that we do exactly what we do. When you hear about other different camps, when you hear about other different groups, when you hear we are the lost tribes of the house of Israel, these words come out of other people's mouth, and it's just more so, it comes more like propaganda than anything else. Comes more like propaganda than anything else, though. Why do I say that? Why do I talk about that? And why do I bring it up? Because the whole Kanye West thing that's been popping up, going off, right? The whole Kanye West thing has been about what? Oh, he came out and said that we are the lost tribes of the house of Israel. What's the other cat? Used to play football. I mean, we know Nick Cannon said it. Played for the 76ers, not 76ers, but the Eagles back when Mike Vick played for him. He even talking about, we're the tribe, we're 12 tribes of Israel, we're Israelites, so on and so forth. The significance of when you hear, other influential people say it is that their stance always have to still include others. Otherwise, they will get completely canceled, completely X'd out. What do I mean? Nick Cannon came out. We're the real Jews. Boom. You're going to cancel all out. Seriously? He took that TV series, that TV show, and he built it to what it is. And that's his thing. You feel me? Like, that's significant. Like, we'll do something so important, so heavy, make it flourish, make it just beyond, oh, okay, that's nice. Beats by Dre. And guess what happens? We end up giving it over, to another nation's people, or it's controlled by another nation's people. We're limited and prohibited by another nation of people. And when he came out and he first made that comment about us being Jews and the Jewish people, it was just like, cancel Nick Cannon. They stood together and it's just like, nah, he shouldn't have said that. People were greatly offended. And it's like, what are we willing to take a stance for? What are we willing to take a stance for? Kanye said that we're the Jews. But of course he had to be like, oh, we're the Jews also. I mean, they already done said you got to get your money out their bank. Why not just start your own? Why not set up your own, financial institutions? Is that because you gotta, go to the Jewish man or whatever? There's many ways that we can build ourselves up. We can support one another, and it shouldn't be for when it's convenient or when it's beneficial. Something that many of us tend to do. I'm an Israelite only because it's convenient. I'm a Jew only because, I'm getting these benefits or whatever. When that's not something that you can take on and put off like a coat. So the brother said, when it comes to brothers and sisters outside of I.S.U.P.K, if I may, you can love them and respect them, but you don't have to like them. Deal with them or get along with them. All right. So your quads can you be a little bit more specific? I think I understand the question, but it was kind of like a statement and a question at the same time. So, like, I get, what I'm saying? I have loved ones that are not in the truth. And when it comes to the loved ones that are not in the truth, I don't treat them any different than I treat my brothers, what I'm saying, or the sisters that's hearing the truth. I don't treat them any different. In fact, I still treat them the same. I treat them the same. I don't have to tell a brother in the school, like, and that's the piece that's a little different. I don't necessarily have to tell a brother that's in the school or a sister that's in the school the same thing that I would have to tell somebody that's not in the school. What do you mean? Con, I got you. Like, I wouldn't have to go to you, what I'm saying, and say, I don't celebrate birthdays. I don't have to go to the brother in school saying, oh, we don't celebrate Christmas. It's something that we know, we understand. Because, yes, the scripture tells us, I despise your feast days. Tells us, I'm saying, not to, follow after the other nations. We've seen it throughout the scriptures, right? We've seen it throughout the scriptures when we speak to the other nations or we follow after the other nations, their customs, their traditions. We were told in the garden not to eat of a particular tree, right? That is referring to knowledge. That's referring to information. In fact, is it Genesis chapter 3? Now, we'll get to respective person in a second. All right. So if we go to Genesis chapter 3, right? Started at Genesis chapter 3. We'll start at verse 3, and then we'll go back verse 1, and we'll read it on down, right? So Genesis chapter 3, verse 3. It says, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. The first thing that I've heard, and I've heard someone recently mention this, they said it was an apple. It was just like, don't know, it's not talking about a physical fruit. It's not saying like, oh, there's an orange, there's a pear, whatever. That's not what it's saying. It said, but of the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden. Which is in the midst of the garden. The power has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Lest ye die. All right. Now, to get a better understanding, we'll go back up to verse 1. We'll read down and through. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord, our power, had made. And he said unto the woman, ye hath, it's like, yea, have the power said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So this is a question that the serpent's asking. Has the power said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the power said, ye shall not eat of it. So, can we understand the difference of what this is saying in being brought out? When I asked the question, starting with the serpent was just like, yea, have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So it's like, you see everything that's here, right? Everything that's here, the power said that you can't eat of it. And that's where she went and she began to clarify. And that's when it says the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. You understand? That is talking about us. That's who we are as a people. We can, you know what I'm saying, share knowledge, with one another. We can take in the ideas from amongst our own. Because we are of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst. Like, if we can understand how this is phrased and put together, it's like, all right, they are the garden. Listen, these are the people. Understand? You got some that's in the midst, roundabouts, or whatever else. That's the significant part of what was being said. She clarified. It's like of of all of the Asians, whatever. You know, like, yeah, they were there too, but we can't partake in whatever the hell they got going on. When we read through the scriptures, when we get through the scriptures, especially in the book of Kings, right? And it talks about our journey through the rulership, the kingdoms, and everything else, we'll read and we'll understand that there were other nations around about us, around about our midst. You understand? There was, you know what I'm saying, other nations they're around, but they're not us. There was a separation, there was a distinction. They understood that, they knew that. But here it is, the serpent who's trying to bring it out as if like, well, what are we supposed to do? We can't learn from nobody. And she was just kind of like, nah, we just like everybody that's within the garden, sure, but from them, nah, we're not supposed to. And that's where she just repeats what, you know, the Most High has said, you know, what her husband has said. Look, God said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. So don't take any information, don't get involved with it. Just let it be, let them be. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the power does know that in that day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So what the serpent's now trying to do is he's trying to trick Eve. He's trying to trick Eve. The same way, you know what I'm saying, that we get tricked today when it comes to like, when you hear the other nations, it's like, nah, like why would y'all want to be separate? You see all the resources and the tools and whatever else that we have. Why do y'all want to be separate? Why would y'all want to be separate? Y'all should, like, okay, your leaders know that if y'all join with us, they wouldn't have power as you would have power. Like, that's kind of like the way it's almost being flipped and pushed. It's just like, that's the messed up part that gets us every single time. If we were having our own schools, right? Because all they talk about in schools now is diversity, 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 right? You got to be diverse. If you weren't diverse, you would not know this, that, and whatever else. They may say diversity, they may say cultured, they may say cultured. That's another thing that they'll say. Slack you 1 second. So, so as we're saying, like our leaders will talk to us and they'll try to convince us that we will benefit more. The other nations tell us that we would be better off by joining with them. And it's so heavy because it's just like what Commander General YAHANNA was bringing out last night, that as long as we're underneath the other nations, they control, you know what I'm saying, they control us. They give, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of power to this one, to that one, the illusion of power. But at the end of the day, we're not benefiting from it. And that's like the same thing when it came down to the garden. When we're talking about the garden, you had us, and there was other nations in the midst, roundabouts, right? The garden. And they were following their gods. They were serving their gods. They were worshiping their gods, their idols. One of the things that they talk about in biology, they bring out this all the time. They mention and they talk about how crossbreeding is important and significant. Why is crossbreeding important and significant? Does anybody know? Does anybody have an idea of why crossbreeding is important, especially, you know what I'm saying, you know, to white people? Does anybody have an idea of why is that the case? When you crossbreed, different traits are passed along, right? So the question was, why is crossbreeding, you know, pushed so heavily? Why is that intermixing and intermingling of one another so heavy? Especially, I'm saying, amongst, you know, the heathen nations, specifically white people.
If I could, so you know, they can procreate like how we could procreate, you know, number one. So
Okay.
mixing with us give them that opportunity through the seed to procreate because they have our seed in them.
Okay. There's more to that. That's definitely one of the parts. This is one of the parts. I wouldn't say that it's more so to keep us from the truth. Yes, they do want to keep us from the truth. They don't give a damn about us knowing the truth, finding out the truth, of course. Nope. It's not to divide and conquer. It's not to divide and conquer. When you think about people that come from the Caucasus Mountains, they typically to be very sickly. And the sad thing is we know it, but we try to we try to cover it up. Like, who the hell cares? Like, why do we care, you know what I'm saying, if they're sickly or not? It doesn't matter to us. It shouldn't matter to us, right? We'll almost take offense to, you know, that they're a sickly people. I remember sitting in biology class, and this was one of the conversations. They talked about how the species mix and interbreed. The importance and significance of that is because it prevented them from being wiped off the face of the earth. Think about it. The Most High is going to eventually wipe off the other nations. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to, you know, be destroyed, of course. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a sword came and just chopped them up. It's just my DNA. It's in my blood. You understand?
Oh.
The Lord released a plague that will utterly destroy the other nations. But by them breeding, mixing, you know what I'm saying, they're able to do what? What are they able to do? Just a little bit more.
They're able to prolong that process.
There you go. It's like you're pushing, you know what I'm saying? You're prolonging it a bit. You're prolonging it. Why? Okay, well, I don't want to get too deep into the whole science conspiracy nonsense, though. But it's just like, you ever hear the whole conversation about melanin? Right. They do it to survive, to exist. I don't want to get too deep into the melanin joint, but they be like, oh, well, you know, the melanin in our skin and everything else, it don't matter. If that's what it is that makes us survive and the other nations, you know what I'm saying, die off, so be it. It's in our blood. You understand? This is something that the Most High provided us and did not provide the other nations. And now the intent to crossbreed and mix will allow them to live a little longer, survive one more plague, survive, you know what I'm saying, another extinction event that may have occurred. One of the conversations I remember going over very vividly and specifically was, I think they talked about sickle cell. Sickle cell was a trait that developed because of a sickness, right? What was it, malaria? I don't know. It was some type of sickness. At the end of the day, the sickness, you know, would lead to death, almost wiping out the population. Through evolution, it caused, you know what I'm saying, it was a defense, but it was also a detriment at the same time, right? So if everybody of the region was all the same, and this disease was spread out, potentially that entire nation, that entire group of people would be wiped out. That's how it was being explained in my biology class. So that's why they pushed and talked about the importance of, you know, crossbreeding and intermixing. Why? Because now you have the sickle trait, whatever else, it won't carry along, you know what I'm saying, disease or pass along, whatever. You may lose this blood cells, but you have these ones that'll help still keep you survive. So the other nations, what do they want? They want to survive. They want to exist. They want, you know what I'm saying, to have that prolonged life. Almost as if it's like you can't tell the difference between, you know, a Colin Kaepernick and this Jesse Smollett. You can't tell the difference. Why? Or Trevor Noah. Like, one's a Hamite, the other one's a Edomite, and the other one's, you know what I'm saying, a Judah. But they're all the same skin complexion. They're all the same shade of color. Hey, no sweat. I see you out. We're in Genesis chapter 3, We had Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. There was a question that came up. It was essentially addressing the question. So if you have a question, go ahead and type your question in. So, right. Blake Griffin. Wait, what is Blake? Blake Griffin's a Judite, right? He's an Haitian? No, he's a Levite?
I'm not too sure. In like this is in Naomi,
yeah. She a Benjamin.
Yeah, Levite.
Yeah. And I give it up to that sister though, you know what I'm saying? Because as the news reporters, the tennis sister, Naomi something, they were trying to connect her to her Japanese, I think, mother or something like that. And she was just like, I've never even been there or something like, I forgot what she said though. But she was just like, nah, my father, bah, 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 bah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Big up to that sister, you know, for bringing that out. Okay, Blake Griffin's a Levite too. Okay, Most High in Christ. The main character from the TV series Prison Break. You know what I'm saying? He's a Benjamite. Cameron Diaz. You know what I'm saying? She's a is she Issachar? I think she's Issachar. Or is she Cuban? Manasseh. She's either Issachar or she might be Manasseh though. I think her father is Cuban. But nonetheless, though, we're like a speckled bird. You understand? You can't really tell the difference. However, for the other nations, the significance for them is their survival. You understand? It's them prolonging their life, whatnot, and so on and so forth. So verse 4, Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. Now, also remind you, you know what I'm saying, Adam was the first one, you know what I'm saying, to have the truth. You understand? He was the first one to have the truth, though. So don't get in your mind that Adam was the only one. And then he went to sleep and his rib was taken out, because that's what's often taught. That's what's often told, you know what I'm saying, especially in the churches. But that's not the case. That's not really what happened. Actually, if you want, you can, under that clipboard, is that right underneath the clipboard? They pushed the whole a great sleep came on Adam, of course, and you know they took one of his rib, right? And that's how Eve was, you know what I'm saying, brought about though. When Eve was just one of his own people, one of his kinfolks. You understand? So that's also the significance of the garden. In the midst of the garden, there were other nations that were round about. You know what I'm saying? They were sort of in the midst of us. However, what's the significant thing to know and understand? Although they are there, first to receive the truth from the Lord. What are you saying? Are you asking a question? As in, Adam was the first to receive the truth? Is that your question? Con, that's what listen, if it's not something, you know what I'm saying, that you necessarily have a question, you know what I'm saying, you don't necessarily need to bring that out. I just set up maybe like 2 seconds ago. Saying that Adam was the first, you know what I'm saying, person, you know, of the truth. He was the first person. Which goes back to how it takes away from that myth that Adam was the first man and only man, of course, though, and Eve, and so we're all whatever else. Nah, that's nonsense. That's not the case. That's not how it was. It's just like today, right? We are all out here before we came into the truth. We were walking about thinking that we were, you know, Pan-African, thinking that we were Rastafari, thinking that we were whatever the hell that you want to call it, right? We were just doing whatever was desirable to us with no real direction. We became Negroes, we were colored, we were black. Well, what else were we? African American, give you some other names, you know, that we call ourselves. We have all these different things that we call ourselves, but none of that stuff, you know what I'm saying, was correcting or fixing any of us whatsoever. Adam was the exception. You understand? Like, we got Kwanzaa now, right? I remember it was like 90, was it like 93 or 94 or something like that, when 96, when Kwanzaa became, you know, this whole thing. I don't know exactly when, but it was sometime in the 90s when it's just like, oh, Kwanzaa. You know, so we started attaching ourselves to Kwanzaa. We started attaching ourselves, you know, to all these different traditions because we're like, yeah, we taking back, you know what I'm saying, ourselves. We're taking back our identity, which goes back to us being in the midst, you know what I'm saying, or the other nations that were round about. So they were celebrating their gods. They were celebrating their traditions and customs and whatever else that they were doing. And we weren't supposed to partake. We weren't supposed to get involved in none of that stuff. We weren't even supposed to touch them. You understand? And that's what the scripture is telling us. However, go ahead and keep reading that. Read verse 4. Genesis chapter 3, verse 4.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, verse 3, but the fruit of the tree.
No. Verse 4. Verse 4.
Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
And the serpent said, what?
Ye shall not surely die.
The serpent was telling her, saying that ye shall not surely die. So it's just like the brother just said, right? Somebody came through talking about some, man, you got Kwanzaa, you know, Haru, whatever. Look how well I'm doing. You understand? I'm not dying. You know, he's like, you're not gonna die. Like, that's just them keeping you in place, in check. That's keeping you in order, in line. Like, think about it as a kid. How often were you told not to do something? And you so confident, you so, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna still, you know what I'm saying? Like, your parents tell you not to go somewhere, not to hang out with a particular crowd or group of people, whatever else stuff. And he's like, man, I ain't gonna get caught. Even if you think about sports athlete, man. You got sports athletes out there playing basketball, whatever else though. Oh, I'm gonna cross this person off. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. and then you lose the game. It's just like, yo, why did y'all lose the game? Well, because he sucked. No, bro, like you didn't listen. Coach told you, you know what I'm saying, not to be up there dribbling, doing all those fancy, you know, shootings and whatever else though. God, no sweat. Sluggy, no sweat. We'll check that out in a second. What's the movie I just watched? It was the Harder They Fall, right? The Harder They Fall. They was talking about the quickest of the West, or the quickest gun, whatever. And the one dude said, "Yo, you keep doing all them tricks, you're gonna die. You keep doing those tricks, they're gonna get you killed." I ain't gonna hold you though. Spoiler, if you haven't seen, you know what I'm saying, The Harder They Fall, just tune out for like the next 45 seconds. Come to the end of the movie. He got this little speech that he about to give. Bop, 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 bop. It was lit. You know what I'm saying? He said, "You ain't gonna shoot him in the back, is you? You know what? You sure enough know how to make an entrance." He goes, 5 count. So he empty out his bullets, drop them all, take one bullet, put it in. And he's like, 5. Something turned to the side, 4. And he's like, 3. And he dropped dead. Cat shot him, killed him. Why? Because he didn't listen, he didn't heed, you know what I'm saying, the word that was told to him. You out here doing these tricks, you out there doing all that stuff though. I was looking for that gunfight. I was looking for it to happen. And then while he's posed like this with the gun, his enemy pulled out the gun's back. It's taking so long to count down. Yeah. So that's how we are. We so cocky, we so confident in ourselves that we'll lead ourselves to our own destruction. Here it is. Eve, read verse 5.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. For God doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened.
Then what?
Then your eyes shall be opened.
Look, man, you see all these different, look at this money that I'm getting. You out here talking about you ain't gonna sell no cigarettes in your store though, but look how much I'm making right now. Yo, it costs me $7 a cart and I'm selling them for 12. And you don't want to sell, you know what I'm saying, no cigarettes? Look at everybody else. They selling cigarettes. They getting paid. You ain't trying to get paid? All right, bet. You a square, you getting a job? Look, man, I got some drugs. You'll buy this. You'll take this package from here to there. You just made a good, you know what I'm saying, a stack. All you did was take a package from point A to point B. You ain't have to do anything. Like, you just delivered a package. You're a delivery man. That's it, right? And that's the same thing, like, look. We out here getting money. We out here getting bread. But how are you getting money? How are you getting bread? You following after something that wasn't part of us. This isn't us. This isn't what we were supposed to do. The opium, you know what I'm saying, epidemic. That's something that destroyed us, right? What happened to the Black Panthers? How did they get to the Black Panthers? How did they destroy the Black Panthers? Drugs. They brought drugs, you know what I'm saying, into the community. And what happened? We still fighting today. We still, you know what I'm saying, go ahead.
We have taken it to different levels, seeing that they so-called legalized marijuana. We take it to a different level.
They said they do what?
So I say, since they so-called legalized marijuana,
Right.
we are taking it at a different level now. That we don't even look at it no more as a crime, as something that we used to be a criminal accused of. We embrace it instead of we shun from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a young brother who's talking about some who's trying to be pressured into, you know, smoking weed or even selling weed. And of course, his response is, I ain't never gonna touch that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's just weed, bro. Yo, weed destroyed my family, man. My father got locked up. You know, they're like, my mother and father, you know what I'm saying, weren't together. I grew up without because of this drug. I don't give a damn if it's legal now. You know, it's like, I don't care if it's legal now. There was a point in time in which that it wasn't. And what happened? I had to grow up without my father. My mother, you know what I'm saying, had to do this. Our lives were destroyed because of some drugs. And you want me to pick up some weed? You want me to smoke some weed? What sense does that make? Let me destroy my life. Why? Because I'm stressed? Because it makes you feel good? That's a huge, you know what I'm saying, that's a huge kind of, that's definitely true. That's a huge thing for us to realize and understand that we don't have to, you know what I'm saying, partake in these. In our scriptures, the Bible tells us just that. It tells us, you know what I'm saying, that we don't have to, you know, smoke weed. That's a choice. It's a choice for us to, you know what I'm saying, pick up the blunt. It's a choice, you know what I'm saying, for us to, you know, go to that. Scripture says that we don't have to, but we still choose to. But the scripture says, it says, in that day ye eat of, your eyes shall be open. Man, you too uptight. All you need to smoke some weed. You need to get high. Because you be focused and stressed all the damn time. Oh, well, I got to do this. I got to get this type of grade. Well, this brother is organized. This sister is organized. They got a plan in place, right? They got a plan that they're going to succeed, of course. They don't need weed to relax. There's other ways that you can relax, right? So like, if I could, you talk about, you go to the spring, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not one to go to the pond and water and everything else, all that though. But once in a while, it's a beautiful scenery. You know what I'm saying? Go get some fresh water. Look, they got the duck pond. They got all types of places that you can go, of course, and relax. You don't have to see, you know what I'm saying, the city all day, every day. That's it. Nature is free, isn't it? I mean, you got to pay for it in some places, but nature's free. Look, Shorty be talking about all the time. Let's do a picnic. Yo, we should go, you know what I'm saying, you know, a nice lazy afternoon, of course, though, and food and whatever else, though. I think the movies as a child, you know what I'm saying, in the TV shows as a child, you know, kind of destroy that, you know what I'm saying, for a brother. The whole ants and spiders and whatever the hell else all just coming together as we out there on this, carpet, blanket, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and finish that off, huh?
Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. For God don't know.
Use the mic slot, yeah. Use the mic
slot. Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. For God doth know that in that day, in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Keep going.
Verse 6. When the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
And the woman saw what?
The tree was good for food.
Look, this is what we can do. We can grow, you know what I'm saying, our produce. We can grow, you know what I'm saying, our business. We can grow, you know what I'm saying, whatever the hell that we need to provide for our family. That's nice. Isn't that what we do? Come on, listen. What about the other nations? Of course. Hey, Shalom. What about, you know what I'm saying? If you got questions or comments, go ahead and type them in. All right. What about our other brothers and sisters who has sugar cane, who has natural resources, but they cannot what? What can they do? They can't benefit and profit off their own resources that they have? Because some brother, right? Some cat came and was like, hey man, listen, I got this deal with, you know, these Europeans or whoever the hell. Guess what? We can get this type of bread. Okay, cool, let's do it. And now look at us as a nation. We are literally serving other nations. We have produce, we have resources that we cannot benefit from. They are robbing us blind. How much is a bag of sugar?
I don't know.
It's probably like $10, you know what I'm saying, for for like a pound of sugar or something like that now.
Stuff is expensive.
Got it. Right. But here's the thing about it. $10, you know what I'm saying, for us. But where they get it from? How much are they charging? They might be selling, you know what I'm saying, that same pound, you know, for like maybe $1. If that. That's what it's come to. Because we followed the other nations. We joined ourselves to the nations. And that's what this serpent did. Our leaders will do that. They'll tell us, look at all the resources. Look at, you know, what we can grow. Look at how we can benefit. Hey, yo, Dre, why don't you sell those, you know what I'm saying, that company? Yay, why don't you go ahead and sell this? What do we have left? What else do we own? Sell that land and you ain't making no money off it anyways. You remember sharecropping? Sharecropping was something that we did after slavery. And it costs us more, you know what I'm saying, to do sharecropping than it did, you know, for us to just go do something completely different. We would grow tomatoes. And they would buy our tomatoes for like 10 cents. Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying, Billy Bob over here is getting $1 for his tomato. We only getting 10 cents. They set the price for what our you know what I'm saying, products are worth. We can set our own prices. We can have our own land. We can have our own market. We can set up our own banking system. We can have our own infrastructure. Oh. But like what Tyler Perry said and what he brought out. What did he say? What was Tyler Perry talking about? He said, I don't want people getting positions that they're not ready for. Well, Tyler Perry, keep them right with you. You understand? Be a mentor and show them what they should do, how they should do it. Kanye or Yeezy or Ye, whatever your name is nowadays. Salaki. I don't mean it, you know what I'm saying, no offense or nothing personal. Start your own banking system. I mean, you saw what happened, you know, when we let someone else manage our monies for us. Look at, you know what I'm saying, how you being treated right now. Because you made a comment? You mean to tell me that we don't have engineers? Yeah, we got engineers. You mean to tell me we don't have scientists? No, we got scientists. We have mathematicians. We have all these different fields in which that we can set up our own. We can do our own, of course. What's our excuse? What's the prevention? Because we don't have the unity that we should. We don't have the brotherhood that we should. We're looking to the other nations to be a part of them. Instead of us looking to ourselves and looking into ourselves, we look to them for the answer, for the solution. Where does it get us? Where does it bring us? Nowhere. So when it comes down to us, right? You caught this out. When it comes down to us, you know what I'm saying? The same way that we were with the garden, we just need to deal with our brothers and sisters righteously. Not, you know what I'm saying, how this serpent did. Not the way, you know what I'm saying, Eve dealt with her husband. Eve didn't listen to her husband and stand firm. I'm going to get my husband. What the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine how this would have turned out if Eve would have went back and said, nigga, I ain't listening to you. Yo, talk to my husband. My husband right over here. Come talk to him. What do? He knew exactly what he was doing. He beguiled Eve. Hey, girl, listen. Let me show you something that this nigga ain't gonna ever show you. Let me show you something, you know what I'm saying, that'll give you all sorts of things. She was like, ooh, nice. She got all wide-eyed and everything else. Well, she should have been listening to her husband. She should have went back to her husband. Salakia, sir. Salakia, Lord. Salakia, King. Ba, 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 ba. And of course, Adam, loving his wife, did what? He followed suit. All right, baby. Since you say it like that. Okay, so be it. So when it comes to our brothers, when it comes to our sisters, of course, though, we should deal with them accordingly. Not in a way in which that turns them away, of course, though, but to draw them closer to us instead of the opposite. Unfortunately, we often get flipped. It gets flipped. We get drawn away. Oh, there's Easter. Halloween. Let's go to Fright Night. No, we're not doing Fright Night. Fright Night, what good is it for us to do Fright Night? Well, it's just good old fun. Yeah. Right. I remember just as I was coming to the truth, just as I was coming, right? Brother told me about, these other holidays and all this other stuff, though. It was around this time period. And his sister was like, I'm going to a 80s party. I was like, oh, for real? She's like, yeah, I'm going to an 80s party. And she showed up, you know what I'm saying, with her little outfit out. I was just like, oh, okay, she looking fly. She had a little, you know, I was just like, cool. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling shorty, whatever. I should have been, you know what I'm saying, I should have been praising her, you know what I'm saying, for it. It should have been like, it's not a Halloween party. We just doing something different. We just doing our own thing. It's like, nah, it's the same thing. It's the month of October. We ain't doing none of that. And of course, me being, you know, ignorant, I thought it was okay. Oh, she's not doing Halloween. She's doing what? Something different. It's an 80s party. It's a 70s party, whatever. But of course, that's the way that it'll lead from showing up to an 80s party. But what else did they do in the 80s? What else did they do? All right. What else did they do in the 70s?
Yeah.
It was getting hot. You know what I'm saying?
60.
Right. So we over here like, oh, let's do a throwback party. Everybody got the little, you know, bell bottoms froze or whatever else you're saying, disco ball party and whatnot. They also had, you know what I'm saying, those drugs too. Listen, I ain't saying I was out here doing no drugs. That's not what I said. I'm just pointing out the fact is that it's still the same spirit. You understand? Instead of drawing them to us, we get drawn to them. We get caught up like, oh, this is cool, diversity. Because now you got what they call professionals coming together. Professionals, you know what I'm saying, doctors, lawyers, attorneys, you know, whatever. They're congregating and partying amongst each other. And they're also doing what? Breaking the law amongst each other. They're not being separate. They're just looked at as, oh, well, at least they're not shooting anybody. At least they're not doing this. But they're still popping Percocets. They're still, you know what I'm saying, doing all types of drugs that they should not be doing. You understand? So you're quite, does that make sense? Young Mandel, you had a question you was asking about Micah, or was it Judges 17:5? Was this the prophet Micah, and was he worshiping other gods? Let's grab it. Let's grab it and see it. No, it's Judges chapter 17. Judges chapter 17, verse 5. Okay. I would probably start at verse 1 with this precept. I'll probably start at verse 1. There was a man of Mount Ephraim whose name was Micah, and he was unto his mother the 1100 shekels silver were taken from thee. Curse and speak All right. So the question that the brother's asking is Micah chapter 17, verse 5, referring to the prophet Micah, right? Prophet Micah, and was he worshiping other gods? All right. Dell, listen, I'll definitely have to check in on this one. I'll definitely have to check this one and get back to you. I will definitely have to, check into that one a little bit more, a little bit deeper. It's not ringing a bell to me just at the current moment. But of course, what we do know is that, he said there's a man out of Ephraim whose name was Micah, and said unto his mother, I don't believe that's the case, but I believe this is just somebody named Micah. I don't believe it was necessarily a prophet. But I'll definitely make sure, to get that information. Try to remind me tomorrow if you're able to either tune in or come to class. I'll make sure, I'll put that into my notes as well, just to kind of follow up on that. So if there's any other questions, go ahead and type them in as well. One of the things that I wanted to do also, Matthew, I think 17, verse 15. Grab Matthew chapter 17. Matthew chapter 17, verse 15.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, it's in Matthew chapter 17, verse 15. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic.
Go ahead.
And so he is lunatic and so vexed, and oftentimes he falleth into the fire and often into the water.
So you jump back up to 13.
Matthew chapter 17, verse 13. Then the disciples understood that he spake about them of John the Baptist. Verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and so vexed.
He is what?
Lunatic.
He's crazy.
God overcome.
He's out of his mind.
Wow.
Right? He is out of his mind. That's how many of us are today, though. Like, don't take pleasure, with being out of your mind. Don't take pleasure, with, saying I don't got no sense, right? Because a lot of us, are definitely lunatics. Go ahead. Correct.
Continue.
Oh,
Lord, have Matthew chapter 17, verse 5. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and so vexed, and oftentimes he falleth into the fire.
He does what?
And oftentimes he falleth into the fire. And oft into the water.
Listen, man, like this brother, this brother was hurting himself. As many of us, do today, like we'll often hurt ourselves, whether we realize it or not. we pick up weed and we smoke weed. There are those of us, you know what I'm saying, who will intentionally cut ourselves. There are those that will intentionally do harm to ourselves, right? And that is something that this man, you know what I'm saying, had been doing, of course, though. And his father here is saying, what? His father saying, my son needs help. My son, you know what I'm saying, is out of his mind, right? The same way that as the commentator said, oh my gosh, he is out of his cotton picking mind. Yeah. Did you recall that one?
No, I don't want all the time. They use that all the time.
There was a sports commentator that actually said it, though. He got fired. He got fired for saying cotton picking. Sports commentator, you know what I'm saying, comes out in the middle of a basketball game. The brother got his fro and everything else, and they said, he said something of the sorts of, hold on, man. Sports. There it goes. Is this it? Yep. This was Russell Westbrook. This is y'all remember Brian Davis, right?
Why is everything so stressful when you're leaving?
Brian Davis, you know.
It's as if
All right, hold on. Let me make sure y'all can. This recently happened too, by the way. This happened. So y'all can see. So I can.
All the way. Stealing Westbrook. Taking a bump. Russell looking for Ferguson in the corner for three. Westbrook is out of his cotton picking mind.
What the hell would make him think to say such a thing? Like
he wanted to.
Let's what?
He wanted to say that. He kind of hesitated.
Hold on for 1 second. I need y'all to hear this one more time.
Is out of his cotton picking mind. Westbrook is out of his cotton picking mind. Westbrook with his 11th rebound, 11 down, 5 to go. Take a Brewer in the near corner. Got it again. The Thunder is making 9 triples.
I don't think he says it again.
Taking the bump. Russell looking for Ferguson in the corner for three. Westbrook is out of his cotton picking mind.
Westbrook is out of his cotton picking mind. Go ahead, Karam.
He paused, sir. He paused. He said, Westbrook is out of, no, he said, Westbrook is out of it, and then he continued. He paused.
Listen, man. It made no sense that he would make a comment such as Westbrook is out of his cotton picking mind. Westbrook was going up like he was going to, you know what I'm saying, like take the shot, you know what I'm saying, make the layup, and he dishes it off to his man on the perimeter.
Right.
And of course, if you see his hair, you know what I'm saying, Westbrook is, you know, he got the shaved sides, a little, you know what I'm saying. I mean, he wanted to say the cotton picking line. He was waiting, you know, to put that out there, of course. Yeah. And I know that's something, right? That's something. So Westbrook was out of his cotton picking mind. No, that's not the case, man. This brother here in the scripture was literally out of his mind. You know what I'm saying? The same way, look, man, What's the one that was playing in the basketball league who found himself in a crack house? Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom was out of his goddamn mind. You know what I'm saying? Kanye is out of his mind. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, you can't go out here, you know, Jesus talks and everything else though, and you go sleep with, you know what I'm saying? Who you sleep with? Who did he sleep with?
KK?
Yeah, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, man. And who ended up in the crack house? Lamar Odom?
Yeah.
Ended up in the crack house.
He ended up in the crazy lunatic house.
A professional basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Towards the end of his career. I don't recall if he was done or not. I don't think he was. I think he was still playing in the league. Khloe Kardashian. I think that's her name. Whatever. That was his wife. He found himself in the crack house. He preferred to be in the crack house. You understand? This is, go ahead, Albert.
The scripture said, rather be at the house, be in a lion or a dragon, that to keep house with a wicked woman.
All right.
And that's what they call smoking crack and all. They call it chasing the dragon.
Chasing the dragon.
God.
Gone. So these brothers are literally going out of their mind. They're harming themselves. They're doing, you know what I'm saying, damage, you know, that they shouldn't be doing because of their choices, because of their decisions. Now he finds himself in where? A crack house. Kanye's walking around, Yeezy, whatever his name is, is walking around with what? Make America Great Again? A mega hat. A shirt that said what?
White Lives Matter.
Said what?
White Lives Matter.
A shirt that said White Lives Matter. So I'm on DEFCON 3. That's great. Whatever, man.
White Lives Matter. I'm coming straight for the Jews.
Yeah, controversy over something. I don't know if it was, you know, just so that he could focus on his album sales, his music, some brand. Let the focus be on me. Whatever. Go ahead, keep reading out.
Verse 16. And I brought him to thy disciples.
And I did what?
I brought him to thy disciples.
Uh-huh.
And they could not cure him.
And they what?
And they could not cure him.
That says something, doesn't it?
No.
You got brothers and sisters, I'm saying, who are seeking help, who are seeking deliverance. And they come, you know what I'm saying, to the churches. They come, you know what I'm saying, to these religious, what do they call them? They come to these religious institutions seeking to get healed, of course. And instead of fixing the problem, they just make it worse. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless.
Oh, what?
O faithless.
Oh, what?
O faithless.
Go ahead.
And perverse generation.
Oh, faithless and perverse generation. Man. There is a way in which that we should dwell with one another. We should, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are those who talk about, you know what I'm saying? Like, Kanye right now is talking about something, we lost 12 tribes of Israel. Like, he said, we're the Jews. He said, we're the lost 12 tribes. That's who we are, all right? We're the 12 tribes of Israel. I don't think he said lost 12. He said he's the 12 tribes of Israel. I said, oh, okay. All right. But how are you going to, you know what I'm saying, deal with your brothers? How are you going to deal with your sisters? He said, I'm Moses. Here to free my, who are your people, right? Who are your people? You just married, you know what I'm saying? You was married, you know what I'm saying, to a Kardashian who is not your people. Who are you trying to free? It's a political stunt for what? What are you promoting? What are you selling? You understand? That's the issue and problem that we have. The same way that we sold our brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, to other nations, that's what we do today. Because there is but one body. One body, that's it. I don't know what these other groups are. I don't focus on them. Look, we got work to do. Brothers and sisters are out here trying to change their lives around, looking for the answers. And there are those of us that say, you should go into politics, telling each other to cut our beards, shave our beards. Scripture tells us to do what? To not mar the corners of our faces. Okay. We'll go into our jobs, and our jobs tell us, you got to shave that off. You got to cut it off. Why is my, you know what I'm saying, fro less acceptable than that Caesar that, you know, Bob has? Why is my fro less acceptable than, you know, that ponytail, you know, that whatever the hell he has? We have to not just in action, meaning that our actions, like right now, what Kanye is saying he's talking about Israel. He's talking about us being the Jews. But there's something more to it. There's something more to it. There's something, you know what I'm saying, that the men here in the I.S.U.P.K has that nobody else has. Brothers is looking for a way to fix their issues of their brothers, of their sisters, man. Brother said to me just the other day, he said, we were talking, he goes, yeah, maybe it's less money though, but I'm at peace. That's something heavy, man. Is it peaceful every day that you get up and you go to your slavery? Is it peaceful every day, you know what I'm saying, that you out on the streets, you know, trying to get up some dollars?
Wow.
Is it peace every time, you know, you stare on them corners, you know, slinging whatever the hell you're slinging? Not knowing if that's a DT, not knowing if that's 12, not knowing that's, you know, the ops. Is it peace not knowing that you up the game, of course, though, and cats still coming at you? Listen, my man said this. I was so proud to hear it. He said, I see cats, you know what I'm saying, that I used to, you know what I'm saying, bang against. I see cats to them, and they look at me like, he's like, hey, what's up, man? Nah, it's not like that. I changed. Listen, man, I ain't about that. I'm just chilling. And it perplexed other people. Like, yo, is he still on that time? For the rest of your life, you're going to walk around, you know what I'm saying, like, is this cat that I did, you know what I'm saying, dirty back then going to come get me now? It's peace to walk up in here, you know, and be like, I left that alone. That life I used to be, that man I used to be, dead and gone. You understand?
Oh.
That's something, right? Read that one more time from the top. Verse 17.
Verse 17. Then Matthew chapter 17, verse 17. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you?
Hold on for a second. Oh, faithless and perverse generations. Who is that? Who is faithless? Who is perverse? What people is that? Everybody's out here looking for a sign, right? Yo, DMX used to have a song, Lord, give me a sign. Right? Lord, give me a sign. And of course, you're saying we took that, you know, it's like, oh man, that was a sign from the Lord. That was a sign from the Lord, man. Look, we gotta stop looking for signs. We got to stop looking for proof. You want the proof? You want a sign? The brother, you know what I'm saying, that put down drugs, you know, after doing all types of wickedness. That's proof right there. That's a sign. Brothers that was out here sleeping with other men, women, don't do that no more. That's proof. That's a sign. It's like people who used to gangbang, women that used to whore themselves, turning from that lifestyle to never do it again. That's a sign. But we looking for blessings, right? We looking for, oh, Lord sent me a check for $50,000. What? Oh, man, I came into inheritance from Africa. Everybody got those emails? You can get them emails saying, you are Prince, distant relatives of Prince Umujabubu. You are inherited of all this sum of money. I remember getting those emails. I remember getting them all the time. Constantly get emails. And it's like, yes, I knew I was royalty, right? I knew I was royalty. You're just like, what else do I need to do? It's a goddamn scam, man. It's a scam. But you're looking for a sign. You're looking for something to validate when the scriptures does. The scriptures, you know what I'm saying, talks about our demeanor, about how we are as a people. You know, the crazy part, when it comes to this, it said, oh, faithless and perverse generation. Oh, faithless, like, Yahushai, is Yahushai right here? You see Yahushai out here doing miracles?
No.
No? No, Yahushai isn't here walking amongst us doing miracles. But the disciples had Yahushai right there with them.
No.
You understand? He was amongst them. And that there was a crutch in some cases. It limited them. Why? Because instead of believing, they didn't have that faith. They had it because they saw it. But those of you that are here right now, not because of what you saw, bruh, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that watch the classes. There's a lot of brothers and sisters that see what's going on. They say, you know what? Yeah, I want to be more like this brother. I see the way that he breaks stuff down. I see the way that he has a calm demeanor. In spite of whatever, he be saying some harsh stuff, man. I heard there was a video, there's a clip of some cats talking about Captain Zariak. You know what I'm saying? Big up to Captain Zariak. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, yeah, Captain Zariak was I try to be just like him. Listen, I look, I'll be finding myself getting angry and upset, of course. And then I think about Captain Zariak, like, how would he conduct himself? You know, Captain Zariak is like, hey man, all praise to the Most High. It ain't the water, you know what I'm saying? I'm just that vessel that's being used to do this work. That's something though. That brothers see in you the difference. Hey, you know what? What would Karam do? What would Captain Zariak do? What would Thawam do? You know what I'm saying? To have the impact and influence, you know what I'm saying, on other brothers and sisters that they're saying, oh, what would he do? Why? Will he blaze on this brother? Will he blaze on this sister right now? Or will he have some compassion? Will he have some sympathy? Listen, man, I can't tell you the reasons why brothers and sisters pick up drugs. I can't tell you, you know what I'm saying, what horrors that they've been through, that they've dealt with. But they found that was the only solution that they had. That was the only thing that they could to ease their pain and suffering. Doggy Diamond talks about it all the time. how he was angry because, you know what I'm saying, he was raped and molested, you know what I'm saying, as a boy. And didn't know how, you know what I'm saying, to express it. He needed, you know what I'm saying, to be free of that demon, that spirit that attacked him. Captain Zariat did multiple lectures, you know what I'm saying, on that. Because it's something that's prevalent within the community. And we can't turn a blind eye, you know what I'm saying, to when a child says, he touched me, she touched me. We can't be so quick, you know what I'm saying, to just let our child go with any and everybody. We can't be so quick, you know what I'm saying, to blame, you know, each other for what we don't have proof of. But we find ourselves, you know what I'm saying, to be faithless and to be perverse. We serve other gods. We're doing it for some type of reward. I don't need to benefit from it. My brother is suffering. He needs help. He needs assistance. What can I do to help him? In turn, what can he do to help the next brother? You remember that movie Pay It Forward? The movie Pay It Forward, right? Wait, isn't that the scriptures? That sounds like the scripture, doesn't it?
No.
God damn. They're making money off of our culture, our Bible, our history, our laws, our commandments, our Constitution. Love thy neighbor as thyself. What happened? That little boy died and just made a whole clip or video talking about some paying it forward, right? That's all he was talking about, just paying it forward. The same little I See Dead People Ghost 6 cents little boy. And this is like 2004 or something like that. That same little boy. It's just the scriptures, man, the Bible, in the form of a movie.
Mhm.
And we say, just pay it forward. We just put a little twist on it for the precepts. Keep reading, right? How long?
Teacher 17 and 17. Oh, faithless and Salakia. Then Jesus answered and said, oh, faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me.
So Yahushua is like, listen, I'm not going to be here always, man. You understand? I'm not going to be here. And when I'm not here, what are you going to do? If you had the faith, then what? You would have been able to do it. You would have been able to done it just as I have. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him.
And he did what?
And he departed out of him.
Get out of here, Satan. You got to go. You got to change your behaviors. You have to change your actions. You sitting there trying to battle some demon. You trying to battle some spirit, of course, though, but you not prayed up and steadfast the way that you should. Keep reading. There's more to it, especially when we get down to verse 20.
And the child was cured from that very moment.
The child was cured from that very moment. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, why could not we cast him out?
The disciples was like, hey, Salaki, sir, we did the same thing you did. Why couldn't we cast the demon out? Why did the demon stay? Why did it find it well to dwell within him? This is how Yahushua replies.
Verse 20. And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief.
Because of what?
Your unbelief.
Because of your unbelief. Keep going.
For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed.
Listen, you don't need a whole lot of faith. You just need some faith. What did he say in the movie Aladdin? He said, "Itty bitty 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 bitty." You know what I'm saying? The small space. Like, can you imagine, you know, being the size of this room fitting into, you know what I'm saying, a challenge this small? That is a very small, you know what I'm saying, space. I'm just comparison, you know, like grain, mustard seed, and everything else. Mustard seed is extremely tiny. Extremely tiny. Just one more so, man. Look, we are the Jews. We shall inherit the kingdom. You understand? We can do this. If you had the faith of a mustard seed. You ever see, you know what I'm saying, like spice mustard? You see this a little small, you know what I'm saying? It's tiny. Extremely tiny. You just need a little bit of faith, man. A little bit of faith. Keep going.
If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you.
All you have to do is just say it. All you have to say, you know what I'm saying? All you have to do is just open your mouth and speak it, though. But you have to be believing. You have to, you know what I'm saying, be prepared, though. It's more challenging and difficult, you know. I don't want to say it's more challenging and difficult. It should be. It's like, look, you are here with me, right? We fed, you know what I'm saying, you know, 5,000 with 2 loaves of bread or 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Is that? Like, you've seen the miracles. You've seen the works. Why don't you believe that you can do it? Because you have something in you that you have to work out. You have something in you that you need to do. You understand? That's where it comes from. That's where it stems from. Have you, you know what I'm saying, been prayed up? Have you been dealing with brothers and sisters the way that you should? No? So then how can you expect, you know, to go out there and do that, you know, and do this work? That is not going to happen. You can forget about it. You forget about it. Have you shown brotherhood to your brothers? Have you considered, you know, how you treat them? Shalakia, I don't want you to take this, you know what I'm saying, you know, out of context, of course. But it's just like you have those who are in the truth, and you have those that are not in the truth. And you may show more for those that are in the truth than those that are not in the truth. Or you may show that for those that are not in the truth than those that are in the truth. A family member. Oh, well, that's my cousin. So? Well, that's my mom. So? That's my father. So? What's the point? Oh, that's Captain Azaniah. So? That's General YAHANNA. We all the same. We all the same. At the end of the day, we all the same. And of course, keep reading.
Verse 21. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting.
By what?
By prayer and fasting.
By prayer and fasting. You got to be prayed up. And you have to fast. Why? What's the significance of it? Why did we have the Day of Atonement? Why do we have the Day of Atonement?
By by afflicting your soul, you're able to build that spirit to fight whatever demons that are coming at you.
That's right.
Because if you could withstand not giving into
Your flesh.
or for food, you could use that same skill to go against your demons.
Yeah. There's an
To
eye.
abstain from participating.
Yeah, that temptation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that weed, man. I just can't put that weed down. But I fasted for a whole day. so what was you doing? What was you doing while you was fasting? You was smoking a joint the entire day? Well, like, didn't forget about it. If you were smoking a joint the whole time, then that's the reason why you weren't hungry. You know, somebody's just like, no, that means I'm more hungry. Like, no, you was getting high. You understand? You were fasting in vain. There was no point. There was no purpose to it, though. You're trying to put down drugs, of course, though. Your body doesn't need weed. Your body needs water. Your body needs nourishment. And guess what? You denied your body the nourishment. And you didn't mope about it. You didn't complain about it. You got up and you went about and you did your everyday activities as if it was what? As if you had meals all day. So you did that. Now you think that you can stay away from whores. You did that. You think you can suffer, you know what I'm saying, not selling drugs. You did that. You can do a lot more. But you can't do it if you don't prepare yourself. This is sloggy. I'm going to use Iverson right now, though. God, learning how to make righteous sacrifices. Iverson, you know what I'm saying, said practice. You want to talk about practice? Iverson used to be up in there practicing all the time. Whether he's in the streets, how, you know what I'm saying? But he only mentioned practice because of what was going on in that particular case. You know, somebody died, and then, oh, this is why, you know, we're not winning the game. It's my best friend that just died. What the hell are you talking about? Right? You want to come at me? I didn't make it to the practice. I just buried, you know what I'm saying, my best friend. I know there's a brother, you know what I'm saying, who was, I forgot what team. Was it the Chargers? I forget, whatever, though. But earlier that morning, you know what I'm saying, you know, he gets the news saying that his brother died in a motorcycle accident. And he still went up and played the game. Man. Why was Iverson able to, you know, still perform the way he does? I was able to take off one practice. Because he don't just get up and play, you know, say he's been practicing, you know, all his life on a regular basis. He's been preparing for those type of situations. So he can take one off. He good. But you, on the other hand, you've been practicing. You've been picking up the precepts and reading. Slocky, sir, what does this mean? Slocky, sir, I got a question. Okay, so let's go to Chronicles 1 when it talks about Solomon and King David. Solomon and David, right? Come on, man. Like, you ain't even read the precepts. How do you know how to battle? How do you know, you know what I'm saying, how to fight against whatever, you know, is going on? You haven't picked up your sword. You know what I'm saying? You haven't armed yourself so that you can go to war. You're going, you know what I'm saying, to a fight with nothing. You're going there with no arms. You're going to a fight with no arms. Lord be with you. Finish that off, huh? Is that it?
That's it.
All right, no sweat. With that being said, pass class over to Priest and Officer Karan Yala. Clap it up. Scott, you got it right here. Slow.
Security announcement. We are the I.S.U.P.K started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the leadership of Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are only to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the word. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which a brother and sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18, verse 21, Malachi 3, verse 8 to 10, means 10 in Hebrew, Y-A-H-N-N-A. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Holy or upcoming holy convocations is YAHANNA. Sometime I think it's in SHALAM. SHALAM is Sunday, November 20th at sundown. Remind the I.S.U.P.K for 8 days for remind I.S.U.P.K and I.S.U.P.K to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be equipped in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And we there say, I.S.U.P.K, which means to stand. Face the east, go down. We give one courtesy suit to the I.S.U.P.K. One courtesy suit to this to the I.S.U.P.K. I.S.U.P. Shabbat. I.S.U.P. Barak. Yahba Shimya Shabrakata. We give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Say, I.S.U.P. Shabbat.
Salaki. Real quick. Feast of dedication, YAHANNA. No, sir, you got it.
Good. We have to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. We say, I.S.U.P. Shabbat. I.S.U.P. Barak. Yah Shema Lata Ba Shimya Shabbat. Yah Shemata. Your hands down. Class dismissed.